Say you studied Java fundamentals. You studied Java fundamental. Listen. Say you studied Java. Listen with more concentration. Today onwards, object-oriented programming. Already I told no. Listen. Say till I didn't explain what is class. Okay, but every program we are writing class. That is you'll understand today onwards. And what is public, what is static, what is void, what is method, why string array, why main method, like this till I didn't explain. Okay. See, these all comes under object oriented programming. This class concept also comes under object oriented programming, and even public, static, void, main, this string array, these all comes under object oriented programming. Even till I didn't explain system.out.println also. It is also comes under object oriented programming. Okay. So about these all, you will study in object oriented programming. What you studied is Java fundamentals, basics you studied. Now, these all you will understand in object oriented programming. But before going to object oriented programming, just how to accept data dynamically, I'll explain. Assignment purpose, but till I didn't share assignment, this is the reason only I didn't share. Today night I'll share assignment. Okay. See how to accept data dynamically. Suppose one program, suppose if I ask, suppose write a program to accept one number and check given number is perfect number or not. Suppose this is one question. Okay. Suppose write a program to accept one number and check given number is perfect number or not. Suppose that is one assignment question. Perfect number means, suppose six factors. Six factors are 1, 2, 3, 6. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 6. 6 factors. Okay. Say 1, 6 is 6, remainder 0. 2, 3 is 6, remainder 0. 3, 2 is 6, remainder 0. 4, 1 is 4, remainder 2. So it is not a factor. 5, 1 is 5, remainder 1. It is not a factor. 6, 1 is 6, remainder 0. It is a factor. But except this number and 1, 2, 3. These numbers, if you add 1 plus 2 plus 3, if you add, again result is 6. Sum of the factors, if it is equivalent to given number, that number is called perfect number. Sum of the factors, if it is equal to given number, that is called perfect number. Suppose in assignment, this type of programs will be there. Write a program to accept one number and check given number is perfect number or not. Then what you have to do? One number you have to accept. That is 6 or 10 or 20 or whatever it may be, one number you have to accept. Dynamically you have to accept. After accepting, 1 to given number starts with 1, ends with given number, except given number. That means less than 1. So if the number is 1, 6, 1 to 6, 1 to 5. If the number is 20, 1 to 19. The number is 25, 1 to 24. Each number, whether it is factor or not, you have to check. If it is factor, you have to calculate sum. At last, total value. If it is equal to given number, that is called perfect number. But how to accept dynamically? I didn't explain. That is the reason. First, I'll explain that. So how to accept this value dynamically? But how to find out factors? That is you can write, because you already studied if conditions, while loop, for loop. These all you studied. With that knowledge, you can do it. Okay. Now, given number, 1 to given number. Suppose if the number is 25, 1 to 24. If the number is 40, 1 to 39. Like that, one number, whether it is factor or not, you have to check. If it is factor, you have to add to total sum. After adding also, result is same. Then it is called perfect number. This type of assignment programs will be there. But how to accept number? That actually today not possible. But assignment purpose, 2-3 lines will be there. That is I'll explain. That very depth in object-oriented programming you will learn. So what you have to do is, one scanner class is there in Java. But what is scanner till I didn't explain. What is class I didn't explain. But just 3 lines you present, you by heart, you follow. Later I'll explain about that. Scanner SC equal to new scanner. You have to write. Here system.in you have to write. Okay. Scanner SC equal to new scanner system.in. Like this you have to write. This scanner class available in java.util package. This line also we have to write first. Java.util. After this, system.out.print. Enter any number, one number. After that, integer x equal to s.nextInt. These 3 lines, system.out.println x. Now, if I execute this program, what will happen? See, enter any number displayed on monitor. Whatever you enter, that is received by this method. The value stored in x. The value is going to be printed. Here, file, save. Compilation, execution. Enter any number, one number, 54. 54 printed. Say Java demo. Enter any number, 5 printed. Okay, like this. Now, here, one scanner class object created. Okay, this is what is scanner, what is class, not completed. But why we are writing system.in, what is this? These all today not possible to understand. Present you by heart as it is. Each and every word I'll explain in object-oriented programming. Okay. Now what you do is, this is you follow for every program for assignment. Okay. So here, scanner class object created with that object reference. Now I didn't explain what is class, what is object reference. These all today onwards I'll start. Assignment purpose, this is you follow for every program. Say, write a program to accept one number. This is accepting one number. Okay. You will get a value. Now it is even or odd. Suppose it is even or odd. If you want to find out, what you will do? Here, if it is even or odd, you want to find out. What you will do? If x modulo division to double equal to 0, then system.out.println even number. Else system.out.println odd number. Now like this you can write. See, if I compile and execute, see, enter any number, one number, 5, odd number. Suppose enter any number, 6, even number. So like that, dynamically how to accept, I'm explaining. For every program, this is you attach. Okay. Very depth you will understand later. So just accepting one number and displaying one number I given with scanner class. Say here, every program assignment programs. Today night I'll share assignment. This is the reason I didn't share. So assignment I'll share in Google Classroom, and like this, import the package. Import java.util.star semicolon. Import the package. Without this line, this class we cannot access. Okay, because already given java.lang is a default package. Remaining package explicitly we have to import. This line compulsory or write. Then only scanner class you can access. Okay. This line today it is not possible to understand. Okay. Scanner s equal to new scanner system.in. Let us write system.out.print. Enter any number. It will be displayed on monitor. Whatever you enter received with this method, the value stored in X, the value printed. Okay. Just this program is to accept and display. Just write this program is accepting and displaying on monitor. That's it. This code required for every assignment program. Okay. Just write this one. Program to accept and display one number. 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 For every assignment program, first this is required. Is it over? Program to accept and display one number. So assignment purpose, this is required. Assignment purpose, this is required. Okay. See, scanner is one class. This class is available in Java library. It is available in java.util package. That is the reason we imported. So for this line purpose, this scanner class purpose, this package you have to import and enter any number displayed on monitor. Whatever you enter with this nextInt library method, value accepted stored in X. That X value printed. Now here only printing a given. What you have to do according to assignment you have to do. Okay. Suppose write a program to accept one number and display and check whether given number is perfect number or not. You have to write a program to accept one number and display factors of a given number. Factors you have to display. Accepting dynamically, I given this code. Remaining according to assignment, you do it. Okay. But this line, these all today not possible to understand. Okay. Assignment purpose, I given one program. This is you follow for every assignment program. Okay. Now I'll explain object oriented programming. This is today not possible. I explained already. Okay. Even still, what is class also didn't explain. You observe. Java is like that only. We like without knowing class only, every day we are writing class. You observe. First welcome program only we written class, no. But what is class not completed? Even this main method also not completed. System.out.println also not completed. If I explain also today not possible to understand. See this line only. Println is a method of print stream class. That class is available in java.io package. For calling this method, object reference required. Object reference is out. Out is a member of system class. System class is available in java.lang package. Between these two classes has a relationship is there. Like this. Will you understand today? No. That's what. Today not possible to explain, to not possible to understand. Okay. These all I'll cover very depth later. Okay. Java is like that only. Now, this scanner class, this system.out.println, this nextInt method, this util package, this class, this main method, you'll understand further. Present you follow this code for every assignment program. Okay. Now, is it over? One by one you'll understand. Suppose today you are going to understand what is class. Okay. For understanding class also one class required. Okay. For understanding public, for static, one class required. Then you'll understand. Okay. Today you will see what is class, what is object. Only these two. It will take one hour. Okay. See. This program you use for every assignment program if required. Okay. Now, note on object oriented programming. Object oriented programming. Object oriented programming. In short, OOP. Object oriented programming. See, today onwards, up to exception handling, every class important only, every minute important only. Every minute important only. Okay. Every second you have to concentrate. It is the most important topic. Up to exception handling topic. If you are perfect, then any Java program you can write. Online students, listen with more concentration. If any doubts are there, end of the session, you can ask, I'll clarify. Okay. Now, object oriented programming. Today onwards, up to exception handling topic, every class important, every second important, every point important only. If you are familiar with object oriented programming and up to exception handling topic, later any Java program you can write. Even further subject also, it becomes very easy. And for you need to put more efforts for this topic. This topic is not easy. You need to put efforts. Then you can understand. Okay. See, most of the students, they are not familiar with this topic. That's what they are struggling while writing programs in Java. That's it. After completion of exception handling, you will be able to write any Java program. But after completion of exception handling also, Java is hard means you are not perfect in this topic. That's it. Okay. Because people are saying advanced Java hard. That means he is not perfect in this topic. If the person is saying advanced Java hard, that meaning he is not perfect in this topic. If the person is saying Hibernate hard, that meaning also is not perfect in this topic. If the person is saying Spring is hard, that meaning also same. The person is saying Android hard, that meaning also this one only. Android, Salesforce, Selenium, and Hibernate, Springboard, microservices, Salesforce, SAP NetWeaver, Hadoop, big data. These all courses. This topic is important. Okay. That's what. Listen with more concentration. Put efforts. Work hard for this topic. Okay. Now, write it. Java is an object-oriented programming language. 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 But first of all, what is object-oriented programming language? Note OOPL. In short, we are calling OOPL. Object-oriented programming language. What is object-oriented programming language? A language that supports all the principles of an object-oriented programming. A language that supports all the principles of an object-oriented programming is known as object-oriented programming language. A language that supports all the principles of an object-oriented programming is known as an object-oriented programming language. A language that supports all the principles of an object-oriented programming is known as an object-oriented programming language. Say, if any language that supports all object-oriented principles, then that language is called object-oriented programming language. What are principles? Note object-oriented principles. In short, we are calling OOPS. Object-oriented principles. First one, encapsulation. Second one, abstraction. Third one, inheritance. Fourth one, polymorphism. Object-oriented principles. First one, encapsulation. Second one, abstraction. Third one, inheritance. Fourth one, polymorphism. If any language that supports these four principles, then that language is called object-oriented programming language. Say, if any language, if it is supporting these four principles, if any language that is supporting these four principles, then that language is called object-oriented programming language. Encapsulation, abstraction, inheritance, polymorphism. According to object-oriented analysis and design, standard principles only four principles. According to object-oriented analysis and design, standard principles only four. Okay, like in some books, you'll get it 5 principles, 6 principles, 7 principles, 8 principles also. Okay, listen with more concentration. Data binding, it is part of encapsulation. It is not separate principle. Data hiding is a part of abstraction. Extendability is a part of inheritance. Overloading, overriding, it's a part of polymorphism. Like that, if we extract these 4 principles, we can make it 10 principles also, 15 principles also. Okay, but according to object-oriented analysis and design, standard principles only 4. Only 4. Encapsulation, abstraction, inheritance, polymorphism. Before Java language only these principles came. 1979, these principles introduced in the market. 1983, C++ programming language came. Then C plus oops, that is only C++. C plus object oriented principles, that will become as C++. So whatever is there in the C language, that is there in the C++ programming language also. Additionally, what we have? Oops. So C language 1972 came. So 1972 C language introduced. 1979 OOPS principles introduced. Object oriented principles introduced. 1983 C++ came. 1995 Java came. You observe? Before Java language only OOPS were exist. Before Java only. So 1972 C programming language introduced. After 7 years OOPS introduced. These OOPS are just a theoretical part. It is also one subject. Object Oriented Analysis and Design, OOAD. BTech, CSC, CSIT students studied. MCS students, MTech students also studied. That is also one subject. Only principles one subject is there. OOAD. Okay. Object Oriented Analysis and Design. That is one subject. That is complete theory subject. Those principles introduced. After 4 years, C++ came. Then C++ is not a new language. C plus oops, that is only C++. So whatever is there in the C language, that is there in the C++. Additionally, we have only oops. Say increment operator, it is incremented with oops. C incremented with oops, that is C++. Like that only they given. You studied plus operator, no? Increment operator, like that. So say A value 5, A plus plus, that value 6. Here C plus plus nothing but C plus oops. A value 5, later A plus plus means A plus 1. A equal to A plus 1, that type. C equal to C plus oops. C plus plus equal to C plus oops. Like that introduced. After a few years, after 12 years, Java came. This Java also with these principles developed. So year 1979, these principles came. 1979. 1995 Java came. Principles were exist before Java only. So these all object oriented principles, if any language supported, that language is called object oriented programming language. Java supports these 4 principles. That's what Java called as object oriented programming language. Now these principles, some languages are there. Object based language. Object based language different, object oriented language different. What's the difference? I'll give. Say object oriented equal to object based plus inheritance plus runtime polymorphism. So runtime polymorphism. So actually polymorphism 2 types will be there. Compile time polymorphism, runtime polymorphism. We'll study later. Inheritance and runtime polymorphism not possible in based language. Oriented language, everything possible. So without including inheritance and runtime polymorphism, that language is called object based language. Including inheritance and runtime polymorphism, that language is called oriented language. Okay. Including inheritance and runtime polymorphism, oriented. Excluding inheritance and runtime polymorphism, based. So it supports only 2.5 principles. It supports all 4 principles. That is, this is the relation between oriented and based. Write this line. Object oriented equal to object based plus inheritance and plus runtime polymorphism. Object oriented equal to object based plus inheritance plus runtime polymorphism. Object oriented equal to object based plus inheritance plus runtime polymorphism. So including inheritance and runtime polymorphism, it is called as oriented. Excluding inheritance and runtime polymorphism, it is called as based. Some language I'll give. Object oriented language. Object oriented language, C++, Java, Python, C#, .NET, Visual Basic .NET, Simula, Smalltalk, Ada, -- etc. Object oriented language. Object based language. JavaScript, VBScript, Visual Basic, old version, -- etc. These languages are based language. JavaScript is not a part of Java. It is also one language. JavaScript is not a part of Java. It is also one language. VBScript, it is also one language. Visual Basic is a one language. Visual Basic .NET, it is old version. It is .NET version, latest version, but it is based. It is oriented. So these languages are based language. JavaScript is not a part of Java. It is one separate language. It is also one language. Okay. These languages do not support inheritance, runtime polymorphism. But what is supported? Encapsulation, abstraction, compile time polymorphism. That's it. But here, all supported. So Java comes under oriented. Java supports all principles. Java is an object-oriented programming language. Okay. See, Java is an object-oriented programming language. First line only given. So it supports all principles. Now, here, if you want to use these principles, we required class and object concepts. Right? In order to use the above principles, we need the following language constructs. One is class, second one is object. In order to use the above principles, we need the following language constructs. One is class, second one is object. In order to use the above principles, we need the following language constructs. Now, class and object required to use principles, but class is not a principle. Object is not a principle. Based on class, principles requires class and object. Principles requires class and object. So here class object comes under language constructs. Say 1979 principles came. 1983 C++ came. Then object-oriented principles they implemented in C++ programming language. At the time they started class and object. So class and object came later. Language purpose introduced. So first object-oriented principles introduced. Based on some real-world examples, these principles introduced. This is applied to software. Then many advantages are there. Easy to maintain, easy to update, easy to delete. These are so many operations possible. Those all you will understand further. What is the benefits? Okay. What are the benefits you'll understand further? Say by these four principles, if it is supporting, that language is called oriented language, object oriented language. Java supports all principles. But if you want to use principles, first we require class and object. Okay. Today, first class and object we'll study. Now write it, class. A class is a collection of variables and methods. A class is a collection of variables and methods. A class is a collection of variables and methods. Syntax. First syntax note down. Class keyword. After that, class name. Here. Data type. Variable 1. Data type. Variable 2. Data type. Variable 1. Data type. Variable 2. That is n number of data types, variables. Return type, method name. Argument 1, argument 2. The class syntax. So a class is a collection of variables and methods. A class is a collection of variables and methods. Is it over? Say what I given. A class is a collection of variables and methods. What is variable? What is method? I have to explain. Like here, syntax is, it is a class keyword, compulsory small letters. It is a class name, identifier. Identifier rules you have to follow. After that, notation you have to follow. Each word first letter capital, no space between words. Like that you have to follow. After this, data type, variable 1, data type, variable 2, like this, n number of variables you can write. After this, n number of methods you can write. Okay. Now, this is one class. This is syntax to create a class. This is syntax to create a class. Okay. But here, what is method, what is argument, what is return type, so many things I have to explain, not completed. Okay. Now, this is class syntax. Class syntax. You already studied data types. In Java, how many categories of data types are there? How many categories? 2 categories. What are those? Primitive data types, reference data types. How many primitive data types are there? 8. What are those? Byte, short, int, long, float, double, char, boolean. What are the reference data types are there? Arrays, strings, classes, interfaces, dash dash, etc. Okay. So these are data types. Here, you have to select any one data type according to your requirement. How to select, I'll explain. It is a variable. Just a variable is a container which contains data. That is you studied. But very depth you'll study here. At the time, only declaration, assignment, initialization, only definition I given at the time. Okay. Here, method name. These are in C language we are calling functions, but in Java language we are calling methods. You'll see. Today, just you concentrate only on class and object, remaining later. Okay. So today no need to concentrate on variables and method. These all. Today just you concentrate on only class and object, remaining later. See, class and object. A class is a collection of variables and methods. What is class mean? This one. But why do we need a class? Where we have to write class? When we have to write class? How to write class? This is everything you have to learn. Already I told learning style. What, why, where, when, how. Each concept. At that time I explained. No? So while starting first class only, first or second class, I explained how to learn Java. That is. Now, what is class? Why do we need a class? Where we have to write class? When we have to write class? How to write class? Everything. Now, what is class? A class is a collection of variables and methods. How to write a class? This is syntax. Okay. But why? Why do we need a class? Where we have to write class? When we have to write class? Now, I'll explain. See, here, class is nothing but just a collection of variables and methods. Suppose here we have some data. Employee number, name of the employee, salary of the employee. Like this we have. Okay. Employee number, name of the employee, salary of the employee. Like this we have. One more employee number, one more employee name and salary. Like this we have. Already you studied literals. How many categories of literals are there? 6 categories of literals are there. What are those? Integer literals, floating point literals, character literals, string literals, boolean literals, object literals. You studied, no? 6 categories of literals. Integer literals, floating point literals, character literals, string literals, boolean literals, object literal. These all which literals? Integer literals. These all string literals. These all floating point literals. Suppose here we have 3 employees data. 3 employees data we have. This data I want to store permanently in a system. This data I want to store permanently in a system through Java programming. But for storing not only Java, there are so many softwares are there in the market. C is there, C++ is there, Java is there, Oracle is there, MySQL is there, MS Word is there, Excel is there, PowerPoint is there. So many softwares are there in the world. So many softwares are there. But why we have to select Java? Now, this data, if we store, listen with more concentration. Listen with more concentration. Say this topic is most important. With this knowledge only, further you can understand Java. If you are not familiar with this topic, further if you learn n number of courses, no use. Total other Java, like Advanced Java, Spring, Hibernate also depends on this topic only. After completion of Advanced Java, after completion of Spring, Spring Boot, microservices, they are understanding the importance of this topic. After completion of total Java, they are understanding the importance of this topic. Then after completion of course, Spring, Spring Boot, microservices, if you understand the importance also, no use. Present only, concentrate here. Later remaining all becomes easy. Okay. Few people are not listening. That's what I'm saying. Their concentration on mobile. Like if you are attending class means you concentrate on subject. Otherwise attending class is wasted if you concentrate on mobile. Whether you are listening or not listening, you know very well. No need to point out. Whether you are using mobile or concentrating on this one or mobile, you know very well. No need to point out. My eyes on everyone. I have seen 2-3 members concentrating on mobile. That's what I'm saying. Okay. Now, it is the most important. It is the most important. See here, this data, if you want to store in a system, through Java programming, if you want to store, we require class. But why we need Java? There are so many other softwares are there. You can store with MS Word also, PowerPoint also, Excel sheet also, Oracle also, MySQL also. There are so many softwares. This data, if we store with Java, the data can be anywhere in the world. You can access the data from any corner in the world. That purpose, Java first priority. Java especially made for internet applications. So if we store this data through Java programming, the data can be anywhere in the world. You can access the data from any corner in the world. That purpose will give highest priority Java. Okay. There are so many softwares, but with the Java, if you install, if you store, you can access from any corner in the world. Suppose example, from your home PC, some data you uploaded in Facebook server. Now, can you open from mobile? Possible or not? Possible. Because your data not in your home PC now. Your data you uploaded in Facebook server in US. But you can access the data from any corner in the world now. So your data can be anywhere in the world. You can access the data from any corner in the world. That to any number of people at a time from any corner in the world. That type possible. That purpose, first priority they'll give for Java. That is the reason Java required. Okay. Java introduced in the market to develop internet application. And internet application, they'll give a highest priority Java. Okay. Now this data, if you want to store in a system through Java programming, first of all, we require class. With this class, we can store. How? First, you see, according to syntax. Here, one example I'll write. Listen, don't write. I'll get time for writing. See, here, what we have to do? Class is a keyword. Keyword can we write in capital letters? No. Compulsory small letters. After this, class name. Class name, the word should be related to the data. Employees information. Then write class name, either employees information or employees or employee or EMP. Seeing that word only should understand what purpose you are maintaining. Okay. Suppose class name A, class name B also you can write. Again, what will happen? Suppose A class for employee, B class for student data, A class for employee data. Again, you have to remember A class for employee, B class for student. But instead of writing AB, you can write directly employee and student. No, it is better. Meaningful information you can write. That's what your class employee. Otherwise, employee complete also you can write. Employees information also you can write. Because identifier length, no limit. N number of letters you can write. Already identifier rules you studied. For writing this word, you need to follow identifier rules as well as Java notation. First word, each word, first letter capital, like that. After this, data type. Now employee number, Which type required? Integer type. Variable name also meaningful word, write it. Variable second word onwards first letter capital, no? That's what N capital I given. Employee number. So integer employee number. Next, employee name. Employee name string type required. But till I didn't explain strings. String is actually one class. For understanding string also this class required first. Because string is also class. That's what present string name. This is also one class. That's what this each first letter capital. Each word first letter. Now next salary. Float. Salary. Like this are written. See, class is a keyword, compulsory small letters. Class name, identifier, identifier rules you have to follow, Java notation you have to follow. After that, data type I selected int, employee number, identifier, identifier you have to follow, rules you have to follow, notation you have to follow. Second word onwards, capital letter for variables. String is a class. That's what S capital. Name, again identifier, float, salary. These all according to requirement. I selected variables. I selected. After that, methods. On this data, what are the operations you are going to perform on this data? Those all you have to write methods. Suppose this data I want to accept from keyboard. This data I want to display on monitor. This data I want to send in network. This data I want to receive from network. Okay. This data I want to send in network. This data I want to receive from network. Okay. This data I want to, whatever on this data, what are the operations you are going to perform? That is your right. Suppose on this data, I want to calculate bonus, 10% bonus. Suppose salary is 1000, 10,000, 10% bonus, 1000 is a bonus. I want to calculate like that. Some methods you are right. On this data, what are the operations you are going to perform? Those all you are right methods. Calculating bonus, calculating net salary, calculating gross salary, and this type of operation. Accepting data, displaying data, this type. Sending data Hyderabad to US, USA to Hyderabad, this type of operation. All you are right methods. Today, no need to concentrate on method. Method not possible to understand today. Suppose just I'm writing void accept. It's a method. Here I'm not writing method body, empty I'm writing. Later we'll see. These are method body. Accepting code we have to write. Accepting code we have to write. After this, displaying. Displaying code we have to write. This is class example. Based on the data, we return class. If I give any other data, you have to write like this class. Today, these all today not possible to understand. You concentrate on only outlines of class. Okay. Now first you write this example. Here also more logical part will be there. Here logic style will be different. Okay. Today theory will be there. Tomorrow logic will be there. But with today class knowledge only, tomorrow you can give answers. That's what, listen with more concentration. Here also logical part is there, but logic different style. Class, class name, data type, variables, methods. Write this one. Example. Variables or methods. It is just one template type I given. It is complete method body, all those things I didn't give. Code snippet is all to understand subject. This is one class. See what I given, like employee number, name of the employee, salary of the employee. Again, employee number, name of the employee, salary of the employee. Employee number, name of the employee, salary of the employee. Like this. Based on this data, we return one class. Okay. Say, based on the data, I return one class. It is employees information. That's what class name employee. After that, integer, string, float, data types I selected. This data I want to accept, some code I'll write there. This data I want to display, that code I'll write there. Accepting, displaying. This is the code we written. Okay. Now, this class will not occupy memory. No memory for class. But this class you are going to write in a file. This class you are going to write in a file. The file occupies memory, but class will not occupy memory. Means this file is, if you write this program in a file, that file is going to be stored in hard disk. It will occupy memory. But here employee number, integer, 4 byte, string, 2 byte, like that, memory not allocated. That is while creating object allocated. Up to that, no memory. Suppose this is, you will write like a emp.java. You will write. Here, class will not occupy memory. Write this point. Class will not occupy memory. Whereas file occupies memory. Class will not occupy memory, whereas file occupies memory. Class will not occupy memory, whereas file occupies memory. Class will not occupy memory, whereas file occupies memory. Say, based on data, we return one class. Okay. After class, you must create object, then memory allocated. Up to that, no memory. Now, if I teach pure technical like this, 50% students also may not understand. That's what I'll teach with the general examples. Okay. Then you'll get a more clarity. Suppose employee number, name of the employee, salary of the employee. Now, 3 employees data is there. Okay, we have 3 employees data. Then, based on this data, I created one class. Okay. Our requirement is this data I want to store in a system through Java programming. First of all, class required. I created class. Okay. Now I'll add some general examples. For example, you want to construct one building. In that building, 2 bedrooms required, 1 hall required, 1 kitchen required. One more building, same, 2 bedrooms, hall, kitchen. One more building, 2 bedrooms, hall, kitchen. Now, this is general, this is technical. I'll compare, then you'll get a more clarity. Okay. Now, You want to construct 3 buildings. You want to construct 3 buildings. In each building, 2 bedrooms, hall, kitchen. 3 buildings, same type of buildings you want to construct. Okay. Here, 3 employees information you want to store in a system through Java programming. Now, first of all, here, plan required. No? Without plan, will they start construction? No. So, here, you'll approach to civil engineer to make a plan. He'll make a plan on paper. Okay. According to your requirement, you'll make a plan on paper. Plan completed. Okay. Plan completed. Now, here, according to this requirement, Java programmer will create one class in a file. Plan equivalent to class. Paper equivalent to file. Plan. Will it occupy any space in the world? No. Our assumption. How we are going to construct a building? That is, we are making a plan. How we are going to maintain data? That is, we are writing like a class. So, plan is our assumption. It will not occupy any space in the world. But paper will occupy space in the world. Paper will occupy space. But plan will not occupy any space in the world. Here also, class will not occupy memory. File occupies memory. The file is going to be stored in hard disk. Okay. So, plan equivalent here class. Paper equivalent file. Is it clear? Now, plan is completed. Now, 3 buildings, same type of buildings you want to construct. How many plans required? How many plans? 1 plan enough. Okay. Now, 3 employees information you want to maintain. How many classes required? 1 class enough. Okay. Now, plan completed. After completion of plan, due to some reasons, you cancel to construct a building. Assume. Due to some reasons, you cancel to construct a building. Then what will happen? Plan wasted. Paper wasted. Engineer efforts wasted. Okay. Time wasted. Money wasted. Whether you construct a building or not, already plan completed, he'll charge money. Okay. Money also wasted. No? Is time also wasted? No? Is efforts also wasted? No? Time wasted, plan wasted, everything is wasted. After making a plan, you must construct a building. If you don't construct a building, plan wasted, paper wasted, engineer efforts wasted, his time wasted, your money wasted. Everything is wasted. Same style, after creating a class, if you don't create object, this class wasted, that file wasted, hard disk space wasted, programmer efforts wasted, time wasted, everything wasted. Okay. Same style. Now, after creating a plan, after making a plan, you must construct a building. After creating a class, you must create object. Then only use of class. If consider a building, then only use of plan. Okay. So, after making a class, after creating class, object required. Now write it. Object. It is an instance of a class. It is an instance of a class. Syntax to create an object. Syntax to create an object. See, class name, object reference equal to new class name, like this. Syntax to create an object. This is okay, class name, brackets. Class name, object reference equal to new class name. It is called a constructor. Constructor. Syntax to create an object. Class name, object reference equal to new class name, brackets, semicolon. This is called constructor. I'll explain. Is it over? Now, example. EMP equal to new EMP brackets. Here, new is called as dynamic memory allocation operator, and it allocates some memory to variables. Here, new is called as dynamic memory allocation operator, and it allocates a memory to variables. Here, constructor constructs the object. Here, constructor constructs the object. Here, constructor constructs the object. Now, this diagram don't write. I'll give time for writing. Listen. In this line, you observe in this line. What is EMP here? What is EMP? Class name. What is E? Object reference. What is new? Dynamic memory allocation operator. What is this? Constructor. But where is object? Say it is a class name. It is object reference. It is dynamic memory allocation operator. Here, constructor. But where is object? Your doubt. I'll explain. Okay. Here, new constructor, if you write object created. See, for example, this building constructed. Now this is you are calling as building. Before construction, it is a place. This is raw material. Okay. Before construction, it is called as place. It is called as raw material. But now, are you calling place and raw material? No. Before construction, it is called as place and raw material. After construction, you are calling as building. Now, here also, it is called as dynamic memory allocation operator. It is called as constructor. Whenever you call like this, object created. But now, where is building? This is only building. But where is raw material? With construction process, it will become as building. Here also with that constructor, it will become as object. Now, otherwise, where is building? This is only building. Where is raw material? Where is place? This is only raw material. This is only place. Like that we are calling. So, before construction, place and raw material. But after construction, it will become as building. Here also, with a dynamic memory allocation operator and constructor, it will become as object. So, object is created right side. New constructor, if you write object created, place and raw material with construction process, building constructed, like that. Now, new dynamic memory allocation operator, what it will do? Allocates the memory to variables. Here, employee number, employee name, and salary. Here, employee number, name of the employee, salary of the employee. Now, here, employee number 101, name of the employee, salary of the employee, like this. Now, new, it is a dynamic memory allocation operator. It allocates a memory to variables. Okay. And at runtime, this is also just write it better. At runtime, while executing. Here, new is called as dynamic memory allocation operator, and it allocates a memory to variables at runtime while running a program allocated. Now, constructor constructs the object. Now, here, first new memory allocated. After that, constructor constructed. This is called object. This is called EMP object. Now, building constructed, object created, that type. Building constructed, object created. After constructing a building, this building you will register with GHMC, no? They'll give house number, address. Okay. Here also. Here something will be there. Here something, one number will be there. This number is called address. Every object has an address. The address mapped into another code in Java language, security purpose. Exact address you will not get in Java. Security purpose, address mapped, like encrypted, decrypted type, mapped, another code. That code implemented with hashing technique. That code is called hash code. Remaining depth later. Present, that is called as hash code. That hash code stored in E. So here E. E memory allocated. In this E, this number stored. So like this. So it is building. It is house number. It is registered with GHMC, that type. Okay. Building constructed. House number, it is there in the GHMC record also, that type. Okay. Otherwise, instead of this number, we do not know. That is the reason further what I'll do, I'll write arrow. That means this object referred by that reference. Okay. But further, I'm not going to write numbers. Present, I'm giving number and arrow. Further, what I'll do, one arrow I'll write. That meaning that object referred by that reference. This building referred by one number. The number is called house number. Now, it is object reference. Object reference is not a object. Now, one question I'll ask. House number is a number or house? House number is a number or house? House number is number only, no? House number is not a house. House number is number. Object reference is a reference or object? Reference. It refers object. That's what object reference. It refers house. That is house number. Okay. Vehicle number, house number. Those are numbers only. Okay. House number is not a house. Object reference is not a object. Object reference is reference only. It refers object. So array reference refers array. String reference refers string. Object reference refers object. That type. First write this diagram. It is called hash code. So it is called hash code. In this line, is it over? In this line, what is new? Dynamic memory allocation operator. What it will do? It allocates a memory to variables while compiling or while running. Runtime. Allocated employee number, names one, name 5000. What is this one? Constructor. What constructor will do? Constructs the object. Object constructed. Every object has an address mapped into another code. That code implemented with hashing. That code is called hash code. That is stored in object reference. That point, write it. Every object has an address. Every object has an address mapped into another code. That code implemented with hashing technique. Then that code is called as hash code. Every object has an address mapped into another code. That code implemented with hashing technique. Then that code is called as hash code. Here, object contains, here, object occupies memory. And object reference also occupies memory. Here object occupies memory and object reference also occupies memory. Here object contains data and object reference contains hash code. So inside the object, data will be there. Inside the object reference, hash code will be there. Now I'll ask some questions. Give me answer. Every object has an address mapped into another code. That code implemented with hashing technique. Then that code is called hash code. In other language, you are calling address. Suppose C++, you are calling address, but Java language, hash code. And object occupies memory. Object reference also occupies memory. Both will occupy memory. Object contains data. Object reference contains hash code. Now, 10 buildings you want to construct. 10 buildings you want to construct. In that, 3 buildings one type, 7 buildings one more type. How many plans required? How many plans? 2 plans. Okay. Now, 5 employees data, 100 students data. I want to store in a system through Java programming. How many classes required? 2 classes. Employees purpose 1 class, student purpose 1 more class. Okay. Now, 10 buildings I'll show you. 1 plan I'll give. Like otherwise, 1 building I'll show you. 1 building I'll show you. 10 plans I'll give. This building based on which plan constructed, can you identify or not? Building I'll show you. Plans I'll show you. This building based on which plan constructed, can you identify or not? This building is an instance of that particular plan. This building is an instance of that class, that type. This object is an instance of employee class. This object is an instance of student class. That is a word instance. Okay. Now it is not completed. Tomorrow continued. Okay. It is not completed. Those who didn't understand also, no need to worry. Tomorrow I'll explain with some other examples. No need to worry. Be regular. Every class important only in this topic.